Born in the glowing embers of the UK rave scene in the early 1990s, the Prodigy was more than just a flash in the pan. They became gargantuan in the scene, unlike others who were to fall by the wayside. The electronic punks, powered by their love of music and the will to do what they wanted whenever they wanted, forced heavy bass lines down the throats of mainstream media throughout the 90s, well into the noughties, and had them wash it down with a high dosage of provocative dance.
Bring me the poison!
Seemingly led by the iconic frontman Keith Flint, a fierce act to be seen ripping through the stage as a man possessed, who was towered over by none other than the powerful Leroy Thornhill, while he mesmerised crowds standing at 2 meters tall, dancing as if he was the reincarnation of the godfather of soul himself, James Brown. Joining the unlikely double act on stage has always been the Cambridgeshire local who was moulded in London's reggae scene, Keity Palmer, aka Maxim Reality, who fired up crowds with his fitting reggae style as he prowled the stage, often wearing a distinguishable mask.
What's wrong with you, man? You crazy.
Despite all this, it was typically the sounds of Liam Howlett, prodigal son of rave, a composer of purism and a dealer in fine sounds who steered the wavelengths that fueled ravers across 2 decades, and punctured the charts time and time again with the likes of Everybody in the Place, which was only thwarted to #1 by a re-release of the Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody following the death of Freddie Mercury. There were 6 UK #1 albums to follow, including numerous gold and platinum certifications for Music for the Jilted Generation, The Fat of the Land, Always Outnumbered, Never Outdone, Invaders Must Die, The Day Is My Enemy, and No Tourists. Not to mention the 2 colossal platinum singles in Breathe and most iconic of all, Firestarter.
Where the fuck are you? I said, where are you? Come breathe with me. Come bring it out to me. Psychosomatic.
Both sold millions respectively across the globe. It would be inconceivable to mention Firestarter without thinking of the Prodigy. But where did it all begin? From the very first day of having the door into the hip-hop industry proverbially slammed in his face, it was another that had opened. The M25 orbital rave scene, and most specifically the undisputed mecca of rave for anyone concerned, the Barn. A rough and ready barn become nightclub, notably the meeting place of Keith, Leroy and unforgettably Sharky, who went soul to soul to soul, skanking on numerous nights, giving off an unparalleled buzz, feeding off the music and encompassing the energy that a skint Liam Howlett would discover and fall in love with. So it would be on a gritty builder's yard somewhere in Essex. A scrawny 17-year-old Liam Howlett would graft away his summer to earn his prized possession, his crown jewel, a Roland W30. This very machine would go on to give birth to the early sounds of the Prodigy, the sounds that made up the very first demo tape. Consisting of Android. Everybody in the Place.
Let's go.
We're Gonna Rock. And What Evil Lurks.
What evil lurks in the hearts of men?
This tape would go on to be sent to Tam Tam Records and regrettably spat back out by the men upstairs. Undeterred, a young and hungry Howlett timidly laid the aforementioned tape out in front of XL Records, and within the week he had a record deal. XL had belief in this quiet yet promising lad from the northeast of London, and they had every right to have this belief. This record deal would be a huge factor in not only recruiting Flint and Thornhill, but importantly attracting Ziggy, the group's very first manager, who solved the one and only dispute within the band at the time, by drafting in Maxim on vocals and arranging the very first gig within days at the Labyrinth in Dalston.
Taking up in a brain show
A respectable 250-ish punters were in attendance, and a remarkable 1,000 just 1 week later at their second gig. It was at this point they knew they were really onto something. Liam offered Maxim an official place in the band as lead vocalist, and he never looked back. The formidable foursome were in full force. These once outcasts and wanderers who were alienated and criticised had each other. They had a family. It was in this formative period for the group that they learnt so much about what it took to be a successful band. During this early success, Liam's attitude was astounding, fine-tuning at all times, honing in on Maxim's vocal potential to best suit the dance scene, focusing on subtle lyrics that blended with the melody to complement the instrumental side of the Prodigy, rather than the cluttering, complicated lyrics found in reggae which he learnt so well. These exasperate the subconscious human state which Liam was aiming to pleasure rather than frustrate.
Camera. Action!